Sir Criston Cole was not dismayed at the arrival of Rhaenys Targaryen, the queen who never was, upon her dragon Meleys. Aegon's hand had expected this much. Counted on it, in fact. It was all part of his plan. Drums beat out a command, and archers rushed forward, longbowmen and crossbowmen, both filling the air with arrows and quarrels. Scorpions were cranked upwards to loose iron bolts of the sort that once found the dragon Meraxes in the sands of Dawn. Meleys suffered a score of hits, but the arrows only served to make her angry. She swept down, spitting fire to the right and left. Knights burned in their saddles, as the hair and hide of the horses went up in flames. Men-at-arms dropped their spears and scattered. Some tried to hide behind their shields, but neither oak nor iron could withstand the dragon's breath. So Criston sat on his white horse, shouting. Aim for the rider. Through the smoke and flame, Meleys roared. Smoke whirled from her nostrils, a stallion kicking in her jaws, as tongues of fire engulfed him. Then came an answering roar. Two more winged shapes appeared. The king astride Sunfire the Golden, and his brother Aemond upon Vhagar. Criston Cole had sprung his trap, and Rhaenys had come snatching at the bait. Now teeth closed around her. Princess Rhaenys made no attempt to flee. With a glad cry and a crack of her whip, she turned Meleys towards her foe. Against Vhagar alone, she might have stood some chance, but Vhagar and Sunfire together, doom was all but certain for Rhaenys, and she fully well knew this. The dragons met violently, 1,000 feet above the battlefield, as balls of fire burst and blossomed, so bright that men swore later the sky was full of suns. The crimson jaws of Meleys closed around Sunfire's golden neck for a moment, till Vhagar fell upon them from above, and the three beasts went spinning towards the ground. They struck the ground so hard that stones fell from the battlements of Rook's Rest half a league away. Those closest to the dragons did not live to tell the tale. Those further off could not see through the flame and smoke. It was hours before the fires guttered out. From those ashes only Vhagar rose unharmed. Meleys was dead, broken by the fall, and ripped to pieces upon the ground, and Sunfire, the splendid golden beast, had one wing badly damaged, whilst his rider, King Aegon, had suffered broken ribs, a broken hip, and burns that covered half his body. His left arm was the worst. The dragon flame had burnt so hot the king's armour had melted into his flesh. A body believed to be that of Rhaenys Targaryen was later found beside the carcass of her dragon, but it was so black no one could be sure it was her. Beloved daughter of Lady Jocelyn Baratheon and Prince Aemond Targaryen, faithful wife of Lord Corlys Velaryon, mother and grandmother, the queen who never was, lived fearlessly and died amidst blood and fire. She was 55 years old. 800 knights and squires and common men lost their lives that day as well. Another 100 perished not long after, when Prince Aemond and Sir Criston Cole took Rook's Rest and put the garrison to death. Lord Staunton's head was carried back to King's Landing and mounted above the old gate, but it was the head of the dragon Meleys drawn through the city on a cart that awed the crowds of small folk into silence. Certain Eustace tells us that thousands left King's Landing afterwards, until Dowager Queen Alicent ordered the gates closed and barred. King Aegon did not die, though his burns brought him such pain that some say he prayed for death, carried back to King's Landing in a closed litter to hide the extent of his injuries. Aegon did not rise from his bed for the rest of the year. Septons prayed for him, maesters attended him with potions and milk of the poppy, but Aegon slept 9 out of every 10 hours, waking only long enough to take some meagre nourishment before he slept once again. None were allowed to disturb his rest, save from his mother, Queen Dowager Alicent, and his hand, Sir Criston Cole. His wife never so much as made an attempt, so lost was Helena in her own grief and madness. The king's dragon Sunfire was too huge and heavy to be moved, and unable to fly with his injured wing, remaining in the fields beyond Rook's Rest, crawling through the ashes like a great golden worm. In the early days he fed himself upon the burned carcasses of the slain. When those were gone, the men Sir Criston had left behind to guard him brought calves and sheep. You must rule the realm now until your brother is strong enough to take the crown again, the hand told Prince Aemond. Nor did Sir Criston Cole need to say it twice. And so one-eyed Aemond Targaryen, the kinslayer, took up the iron and ruby crown of Aegon the Conqueror. It looks better on me than it ever did on him. Yet Aemond did not presume to call himself king, but named himself instead protector of the realm and Prince Regent. Sir Criston Cole remained hand of the king. Meanwhile, the seeds Jacaerys Velaryon had planted on his flight north had begun to bear fruit, and men were gathering at White Harbour, Winterfell, Barrowtown, Sisterton, Goldtown, and the Gates of the Moon. Should they join their strength to that of the Riverlords assembling at Harrenhal with Prince Daemon, even the strong walls of King's Landing might not be able to withstand them. Sir Criston warned the new Prince Regent. The tidings from the south were ominous as well. Lord Aemond Hightower had issued forth from Oldtown with 1,000 knights, 1,000 archers, and 3,000 men-at-arms, and an uncounted amount of Count followers, sellswords, free riders, and rabble, only to find himself set upon by Sir Alan Beesbury and Lord Alan Tarley. Though commanding far fewer men, the two Allans harassed him day and night, raiding his camps, murdering his scouts, setting fires in his line of march. Further south, Lord Costain had issued forth from Three Towers to fall upon the Hightower baggage train. Worse, reports had reached his lordship that a host equal in size of his own was descending on the Mander, led by Thaddeus Rowan, Lord of Golden Grove. Lord Aemond, therefore, decided he could not proceed without support from King's Landing. "We have need of your dragons," he wrote. Supremely confident in his own prowess as a warrior and the might of his dragon Vhagar, Aemond was eager to take the battle to the foes. "The whore on Dragonstone is not the threat," he said, "no more than Rowan and these traitors in the Reach. The danger is my uncle. Once Daemon is dead, all these fools flying our sister's banner will run back to their castles and trouble us no more." East of Blackwater Bay, on Dragonstone, Queen Rhaenyra was also faring badly. The death of her son of Lucerys at the hands of Aemond had been a crushing blow to a woman already broken by pregnancy, labour, and stillbirth. When word reached Dragonstone that Princess Rhaenys had fallen, angry words were exchanged between the Queen and Lord Velaryon, who blamed her for his wife's death. "It should have been you," the Seasonate shouted at her grace. "Sworden sent you the letter, yet you left my wife to answer and forbade your sons to join her." For all the castle knew that the princes Jacaerys and Joffrey had been eager to fly with Princess Rhaenys to Rook's Rest with their own dragon. 4 living sons remained to her, my strength and consolation, the Queen called them. Aegon the Younger and Viserys, Prince Daemon's sons, were 9 and 7 respectively. Prince Joffrey was but 11, but Jacaerys, Prince of Dragonstone, was on the cusp of his 15th name day and would soon not be able to sit idly by.